Today I'm going to show you how you can have a Google Drive folder automatically created for you for every new task created. This can be for video projects, it can be for graphics projects, it can be for any scenario where you need a Google Drive folder automatically created for a particular task. And this is exactly how it works. We have two video projects here. I'm going to create a new one. Let's call this video project 3. And then what's going to happen is once I create that task, a Google Drive folder is now going to be created in the master drive folder that I specified, and the link is going to be dropped right here. So there's that drive folder that was automatically created in just a couple seconds. And then we open it and we see that the name of the drive folder matches the name of that ClickUp task that we created. And I can go ahead and start uploading whatever it is I need to upload to this Google Drive folder. My name is Joe Zapian. I'm a former ClickUp employee, and I make videos showing you how to get the most out of ClickUp. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you like and follow me for more ClickUp stuff. So let's get into how to actually build this automation with a couple simple copy and pastes. So for this example, the expected behavior is when a task is created, automatically create a Google Drive folder in a master folder I've specified. The most common use case I get for this is media companies or video editing agencies that want a new drive folder created for every project, and those projects are tasks in ClickUp. So that's kind of what we're going to build here. And then at the end of the video, I'll show you how you can customize this automation for different triggers. A couple things to do before we get started is number one, go to pipedream.com and create a free ClickUp account. That's where we're going to be hosting this Python script. And the second thing you can do is go to school.com/ClickUp. And inside of my community there, you'll see in the classroom, there's a ClickUp Ready Automations tab. So you can click on that. And then under that, you'll see the auto create Gdrive for ClickUp tasks. That's where you can find the link to this workflow as well as the other stuff you'll need for building this. So go ahead and find that first. Again, it's completely free. And then we can start building this automation. So to get started, you're going to need to find the ClickUp list where you're going to want to build this automation, obviously. So for me, I'm building this in a list called social media projects. And then you need to create the custom field where the Google Drive link will be dropped at the end of the workflow. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to click on this little plus button here. We're going to look for the website custom field, and we're just going to call this Gdrive link. And we want to make sure we always give the custom field a emoji. You can name this field whatever you want to name it. I'm just naming it Gdrive link. So we go ahead and click create. And again, make sure you have a PipeDream account already set up before you do this next step. So on this page here, you'll see PipeDream workflow link. Just go ahead and click on that. It will give you this little dialog here about where you want to host this automation. If it's your first time using PipeDream, you're going to just create a new project. If it is not your first time, just click on a project. Or if you've already created a project for this and it's listed here, just go ahead and click on that. So that's what I'm going to do. You're going to name the workflow. I just have it set to auto create Gdrive folder for ClickUp, and then you're going to click create workflow. Next, you need to configure only one environment and variable inside of PipeDream. You're going to do that by clicking your project name up here. Leave without deploying, click variables, and then you're going to click new variable. Now this is really important that you just copy and paste this exactly as it's written in school. All right, you're going to name that variable ClickUp_API_key. You're going to paste that right in here, and then you're going to go into ClickUp, go into your settings, go down to your ClickUp API, and then you're just going to want to copy the API key from here into this value section in PipeDream and make sure that configure as secret is checked. It should be defaulted already, but if it's not, make sure this is checked. So once that's configured, it should look just like this. And that's all you need to do with configuring that variable. Now you're going to go back to resources, open up that automation, and then you're going to go to step 2 here, click configure, click connect a Google Drive account, and just go ahead and sign into whatever Google Drive account it is that you're going to be wanting to create these drive folders in. Once you've signed in, it will give you the option to select that account. And that's really all you need to do in terms of configuring PipeDream. Next, we need to make sure we have a master folder picked out for where we want all these new folders to be created. So I have a little testing folder here, but this folder that I'm in right now, test projects, this is where I want all of the new drive folders to be created. Just keep this open in a tab because we're going to use it in just a second. And so now our final step is creating the ClickUp webhook that will call that PipeDream Python automation. Now this is super simple. First, we need the ID of that custom field we created. So we're going to get that by clicking on the custom field, clicking edit, clicking advanced. Over here on these 3 dots, you're going to click copy field ID. Now we're going to close this out. Now we're going to create the webhook. So you're going to click on this little automations lightning button right here in that list you're building in. Click manage. Then you're going to go up here to webhooks and you're going to click create webhook. And we're just going to call this auto create Gdrive link. And then we're going to add in our first URL parameter down here. Again, it's really important that this is spelled exactly as I spell it here, or the automation will not work. You're going to type in folder underscore CF underscore ID, and then you're going to paste in that value that we just copied to that custom field. So after we add this parameter, we're going to add another one, and this one is going to be called Gdrive underscore folder underscore ID. And both these parameters, by the way, are in school, so you can just copy and paste these parameters if you don't want to mess it up. But it's got to be spelled exactly like this. Now we're going to jump over to that folder. And again, this is the folder where we want all the new folders to be created. And we're going to copy that ID from the URL by just copying everything after folders /. Okay, so we have folders / this ID right here. We're just going to copy what's after that folders /. And we're going to paste it into our Gdrive folder ID value here. And then last, we're going to paste in the URL of the workflow that we're using in Pipedream. And that's super easy. Inside of Pipedream, in that workflow you created, you're going to click on the trigger. You're going to click save and continue. And it gives you your unique URL of your workflow. So you're going to copy that. You're going to go back into ClickUp. And then you're going to paste that in the URL field. Now, in case you're curious about what all of this means, this is the destination of that Python. And then these are the parameters so that the Python knows where to create the Google Drive folder here. This tells the Python, I want the Google Drive folder created inside of this folder. And then this also tells the Python, this is the custom field where I want that link deposited once it's been created. So in case you're curious what this means, that's all that is. Now we're going to click create webhook, and all we have to do is set up the automation inside of ClickUp to trigger that webhook. Very, very simple. We'll click the automation button. We'll click manage. We're going to click add, and let's just call this trigger new Gdrive. We'll leave it as subtask or task created. We'll leave that as the trigger, and then the action we're going to change to call webhook. Okay. When we click call webhook, we're going to call that webhook that we just created. So this says when task created, then call that webhook. You're going to click create, and then we're going to go over to Pipedream, and we're going to deploy. And that's it. Now every task that's created will get a new Google Drive folder. So we'll name this test project 10. And now what we expect to see is a new Google Drive link dropped right in here. All right, so it just dropped in that Gdrive link, and if we click it, we can see it name the folder, the name of that task inside that master folder that I had created. So that's it. That's all you have to do. Now, if this is the first time you're running the automation, this Google Drive link can take anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds to show up. But after that, we can add another task. We'll call this test task. We'll go ahead and open it up. You'll see that that Google Drive link gets created really, really fast after you create the task. So that one took about 5 seconds to create the Google Drive link. So it will create much faster after the first time you run it. Now, what's cool about this is if you want to get fancy with it, you can change up what triggers the automation to create the Google Drive folder. So let's say you want a button check to be the thing that triggers the Google Drive folder. So let's go ahead and add a checkbox custom field. We'll call this create Gdrive folder, give it a little emoji. And then we'll go up to our automation here. And we're just going to change the trigger. So instead of when the task is created, create the Google Drive link, we're going to change it to when Gdrive folder is set to checked, then create the Google Drive link. So we're going to go ahead and save that. Let's create another project, project 11. Okay, so we'll open that up, and we can see that the Google Drive link is not created. But if we just now check the create Gdrive folder, we check that box, we have set that trigger to create the Google Drive link. So now the Google Drive link gets created when I check that box. And look, it's already been created before I was even done talking. But just checking that box now creates that Google Drive link. There's tons of ways you can trigger this. All right, so if you go up to automations, you click manage, go back into that one you made, you can change the trigger to whatever you want. So you can make it when the status changes to a certain status, create the drive link, or when a due date arrives, create the drive link, or when any specific custom field changes or is updated, create that Google Drive link. So you can change this trigger around to be whatever you want it to be. You can also trigger this automation, this Gdrive link being created anywhere in your workspace now because it is saved as a webhook. So hopefully all that made sense and you understand how you can kind of configure the trigger to be whatever you want it to be in order to create these Google Drive links.